Good evening and welcome to Sunday Night Vespers from the Parsonage with Pastor Pete. I'm glad to have you here. Happy New Year. It's 2022. Hope you're doing well. I'll be playing some more music just for a little bit and then we'll talk in just a moment. It's a beautiful song. Come and worship. Come worship. Angels from the realms of glory. I'm glad to have you with us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're joining in, just go ahead and type in the chat that you're watching and where you're watching from. Love to see that. We've got the Christmas tree still up in the background, so we're hopeful we keep it up just a few more days, maybe till Friday or something like that. I think the Greek Orthodox Church goes all the way to January the 6th, so I'm glad to be able to do that. Hey, Shirley, glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in and being there. It's good to see you. And James, so much appreciate his help with that fence the other day. It was great. So Angels from the Realms of Glory. I've got this really cool book about hymns, and it shares a little bit about different ones. And this was written by a man named James Montgomery, and he was a newspaper man in London. He'd been imprisoned twice for controversial editorials. Wow. So there was no controversy, though, when he wrote this poem in the newspaper about angels from the realms of glory. Other than Isaac Watts and Charles Wesley, probably no writer contributed more to the development of Christian hymns than this unique journalist who championed the cause of the poor and the downtrodden, as well as foreign missions. It is fitting that the music was composed by a blind organist. Interesting. Henry Smart, the designer and builder of some of England's finest organs, and one of the most outstanding musicians of his day. A blind man that was the organist. How about that? That's interesting. Haven says hi. Hello, birthday girl, Haven. Hope you're doing well. And Kathy Hudson, Kathy Green, good to see you. And I'm glad you're enjoying my Christmas tree. That's nice. I got that. When we got the Terrell here, we had another one from Wheatland for a long time. Then we got that one. So in this writing, James Montgomery refers not only to the gospel accounts of Christ's birth, but also to the messianic prophecies of the Old Testament, where the Messiah is called and desired of all nations who would come suddenly to his temple. And you have those lyrics. I'll just read them. Angels from the realms of glory, wing your flight o'er all the earth. Ye who sang creation's story, now proclaim Messiah's birth. Come and worship, come and worship. Worship Christ, the newborn King. In the next verse, shepherds in the field abiding, watching o'er your flocks by night. God with man is now residing. Yonder shines the infant light. And, you come and worship, come and worship. Worship Christ, the newborn King. It's been Christmas and we're wrapping up now and it's into 2022. And you stop and look at what's going on in the future. We race off sometimes into that. I want to know if you could just take a little bit of Christmas with you. Take some of the Christmas season into this new year and continue to have that time of worshiping Christ, the newborn King, in your life. That, I think, will change everything. And so we talked about the wise men today. The wise men came, some people said it was months, maybe even a couple of years after the birth of Jesus. I thought it was interesting to note in we see the manger scenes and we see the shepherds and the wise men all huddled together like they got there the same night. But really, the more you read the scripture, the more you see from the account that they came not to a stable, but the wise men came to a house. So by that time, Jesus and his parents, Mary and Joseph, were living in a house. And so that's interesting take on that. So we also talked about that we don't know the number of wise men. We know they had the 3 gifts that they had. And you know what those 3 gifts are, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So the question is, how many were there? And maybe it makes not that much difference if there were 2 or 4 or 5, but the fact is that they were there. Hello, Doreen. Glad to see you joining in and being part of this. So, we have the wise men, and I guess if we had a New Year's resolution, mine would be that we would be wise, that I would be wise, and take something, maybe a paragraph from the wise men, and apply that to your life. So what can we learn from the wise men? Well, first of all, they chose to be joyful. And we talked about that some today in worship. They were joyful even though it was a long journey. At least one of them had to be joyful, because that one was joyful enough to say, I want to take you, my friends, to go follow this star, to go to wherever God's leading us, to take that cosmic guidance and go where that is. And so at least one of them maybe persuaded the others to say, let's come along, let's go, let's go do this journey. I know some of us travel more than others, but sometimes we need to take a journey, and it may not even necessarily be a distance as much as it may be to go do something that needs to be done. I have a good friend that's joined our Bible study really this year, and he's been unable to really go places, but this year he's joined our Bible study. And, it's neat to see him be able to do that he wants very much. But I had somebody else come to me recently that wants to join our Bible study, and he'll probably join one of them this week. And it's interesting, because even making those choices is like taking a journey. It's the disciple Bible study that I work with, and so it's really in depth, lots of reading to do. So to make that choice to go. So 2022 is on us, and you have opportunities to make a number of choices. And I just wonder if you've given it some thought this long weekend about what choices you're going to make. I hope that you would consider choosing joy, because there's a whole lot of things to get you down. And there's a whole lot of things that can drag you down, a whole lot of personal circumstances or societal circumstances, a lot of things that can make you just focus on the negative. But I wonder if you could make a choice to be joyful in 2022. I think when you do, you'll find your life much more blessed. The other thing is that you can see from the wise men that they chose to be generous. They were generous with their gifts. Wow, the gold alone. My goodness, it's very possible that Joseph, who was a poor carpenter, and Mary, who was a teenage mom, didn't have hardly anything to live on. Yet they needed to escape Jerusalem and escape the area and go to Egypt, where they were for a couple of years, at least, maybe more than that. They were in Egypt. And, how would they finance that trip? How would they have enough money just to get something to eat or a place to stay? Well, they had the gold. Think about that. That was very much needed. The generosity of the wise men allowed them to go. Hello, Kay Squires. Glad to have you here. Good evening. And so they had the gold. They had the frankincense, which was a symbol of the priesthood of Christ, and the myrrh, which would be a symbol of how he would die. So the gold, frankincense, and myrrh were generous gifts. But something else that the wise men gave that we should not take for granted is they gave their time. It was quite a journey to put that kind of time, days, weeks, months, possibly longer, that they put into going to find the baby Jesus, following that star. Sometimes we need to put some time into things. There could be somebody who needs your time more than anything. Perhaps God's calling you to be generous with your money, yes, but be generous with your time in this year to come. And finally, there's the generosity of, or I'm sorry, the joy of choosing, the choices to make. It's getting late, folks, so I guess you can tell. But to make the choice of wisdom, the choice of wisdom. You can see that the wise men at the end of the story, they choose to go back a different way. That's because if they went back the same way, they knew they would get the political pressure to go see King Herod again. And King Herod had wined and dined them and tried to persuade them to get some information that he wanted to be able to basically kill the baby Jesus. But because they were warned in a dream, they chose to go back a different route. Well, you might say that was pretty ingenious of them. I just think they were using God-given common sense that they had. You might call that wisdom. Knowledge, yes, but the wisdom to be able to choose right pathways. Maybe that's what we need to take from the wise men most of all this year, to choose wisdom. So those three things are: one, to choose joy; two, to choose generosity; and three, to choose wisdom. I pray that God gives you those this year. Let's talk for a minute about the colors that we have. We do this every year. I want to continue to do that. Just tell us the color that you're experiencing. If you're experiencing just joy right now, just type in purple, that you're feeling a sense of God's joy. If you're kind of having a major prayer concern about a personal problem with somebody, maybe somebody in your family, or maybe somebody you're trying to just get along with, a strained relationship, just type in the color yellow. If you're facing some kind of financial challenge, just type in the color green. If you're facing some kind of a health issue right now that you need prayer for, or you have a loved one who is, just type in the color pink. And if you're facing just a time of being sort of down right now, or maybe a sense of anxious about something that's coming, tomorrow is Monday morning, just type in the color blue. So those are the colors that you have. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. Kathy's typing in purple. Well, God bless you, Kathy, the sense of joy that's there. And my prayers for you in the Wheatland community. You have a new pastor, I understand, Pastor Rosalind. So I pray things went well today for that. And Kay Squires types in a variety of colors. You got the whole rainbow: purple, yellow, yes, relationships; green, financial; and pink, health. Yes, Kay, thank you for sharing that. We'll be in prayer for those. And Shirley, purple. Yeah, it's good to share those. I'm thankful for good health and the opportunity to start afresh this year. And I'm looking forward to getting back in the swing of things. But I think it's good that we have time to pause and connect with God. And I pray this has been good for you to do that this Christmas season. And don't let Christmas end just because it's a new year and people are making you take your decorations down. Leave them up all year if you want to. It's okay. I'll probably have mine up at least for a few more days, at least the Christmas tree, to have that going. Well, it's a joyful time of year. I know there's stresses, but we want to be in prayer. And thank you for being part of this electronic campfire. Be in prayer for our country. Be in prayer for those who are facing, especially the COVID situations and things that are taking place. We have many in our congregation who are dealing with that right now. And be in prayer for them. And I got purple from Haven, that little 7-year-old. She's growing so big. Well, I hope she has had a good birthday. And I'm glad that you could be with us tonight on this. Others, thank you for being here. Let's listen to some more of this beautiful song about angels from the realms of glory. Christ, the newborn King. I think I heard you singing in the background, Kathy Green, because I know you love to sing. That's a beautiful one. We all should be singing. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you.